Sure. Yeah, I'll kick it off. So thank you, everybody, for coming out to our Lunch and Learn today. I'm John Gallo from Digital Stride. So our office space is actually just right down the hall here, part of the J.D. Brown Center for Entrepreneurship, which is part of York College of Pennsylvania. It's a long name for a place. So today we're going to be talking about video and SEO Playbook. So really kind of going over how that can really help boost your brand, but also going over SEO. So we're not the video experts, we brought in a video expert, Austin, from RL Production. So he's going to be leading most of the charge here, and I'll kind of be chiming in on the SEO part and some of the digital marketing aspects of it. So, Austin, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and everything?
Yep. All right. Thank you, John. Thank you for having me here. Thank you guys for coming and driving all the way down from Ephrata.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Where are you from?
The company.
Yeah, the company.
No, Restoration Relief.
Restoration Relief. Okay.
Yeah, we do have an office here in Hanover, but I'm based in.
Yeah. Couldn't find anywhere closer for you. Awesome. So I'm here to talk about the video part and how that kind of goes with SEO and how that partners with John and Digital Stride. Again, I'm Austin Whitcomb. I'm the co-owner and assistant director. Just a little bit of background about myself. I was not in the marketing video field for a long time. So for about 10 years, I was in the healthcare field. I was in management. So I went to school for management. Planned to be a manager somewhere. I was working as a patient transporter at a hospital, and then I worked all the way up to being a director at a local hospital down in Baltimore, and I was just tired of it. I went through COVID. It was burnout, all that kind of stuff, and I was just eventually fed up. And so I reached out to Bo, our current owner and founder of RL Productions. I reached out to him and I said, hey. We were friends from high school and college and all that kind of stuff. And I said, hey, I want to do what you're doing. I want to help you grow the business from a business side of it. I know you're the expert in the video side. You're the expert in that kind of stuff. I want to help you grow the business and help with logistics. So he didn't believe me. He was like, yeah, okay. You just want the life of a business owner and being able to go out and, he'd be out on his boat or go to a bar and that kind of stuff. Like, no, I want to do this. I'm tired of listening to a lot of other people and working in healthcare and dealing with that. And if any of you have any experience with healthcare, it's not fun. Unfortunately for my wife, she's been in healthcare her whole career and still is. But she likes it. She likes what she does. She's actually working with the patients versus being a manager of it. So he finally took my word for it. I worked part-time for about a year doing video editing. So he taught me the ins and outs of Adobe Premiere, worked with a couple clients, and just kind of, I would go from, I would go from my 9 to 5 at the hospital to his home office and doing a lot of edits for his clients, and I would learn that way. Did that for about a year. So I was doing that maybe 2-3 times a week, coming in, just doing that part-time as an independent contractor to show him, hey, this is what I want to do. And then eventually I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm putting my 2 weeks in, I'm going to do it. Got a confirmation from my wife. She was okay with it. Hello. Go ahead.
Yeah. Feel free to food in the back, drinks.
And so I told him I was going to go full-time, and he was very scared because he had never had a full-time employee before, so he did it. A week later, when I put my 2 weeks in, I came home from my job and found out my wife was pregnant the same day, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I took that as a sign, and I went there and I started working with Bo. I told Bo that I think he was more scared than I was, because now he's like, you mean I have to support you? I have to support not just you, but your family too? So, but here I am 3 years later. So that was the summer of 2022. Worked my way up and became partial owner in 2025 with Bo. So here I am, and that's why I'm here. So it's a weird transition going into the marketing and video field. I've always loved marketing, so I knew I wanted to do that, but I've always wanted to run a business, and here I am.
A really random question for you that I actually don't know the answer to is, what does RL stand for? Is that just his initials?
Yeah, so his name is Bo, but he goes by, his actual name is Robert Lewis.
Okay.
So that's where the RL comes in at. Good question.
Gotcha.
Get that a lot.
Yeah, never knew that.
They're not your initials. You're Austin. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. He's Bo. That doesn't make any sense. We get that a lot. And we did recently rebrand. You can see in our headshot. Crazy rebrand, right? We just got rid of that triangle right there in that corner.
Yeah.
Big change.
Yeah.
Big change. So RL Productions, before I get into that, who currently uses video marketing or videos in their marketing plan currently? Fantastic. Good job. Not you?
Sorry.
You're fine. It's just in the mid-mouth. Good. Well, obviously, this is supposed to help you, even if you are using it, how to implement it and help with the SEO and how to help with that kind of stuff. And it's not just posting, it's about strategy and how you do it. So RL Productions, we are video marketing and event solutions as well. We specialize in digital advertising for local businesses as well as AV solutions for companies both locally and nationally. So we'll do local galas, golf tournaments, local events, and then we'll also do national conferences and that kind of stuff. So we go to LA, we go to Florida, all that kind of stuff for that. Got to get used to putting the mic here. I'm just talking with my hands.
Yeah, it's tough.
So why are we different? What do we do that's different than all of the other video production companies is, you know, we specialize in broadcast and traditional commercials, but we also specialize in storytelling. So we take the brands and we help tell their story, who we are, why they do it, and we don't just create those video assets, we help implement them into the marketing plan. So we're not just going to be a one-off, we're not going to create just one video, we're going to create a bunch, you know, to a plan and make it make sense for you. And we're going to build long-term relationships with you and with the companies rather than just coming in, producing a video, and then letting you go on your way and seeing how you do it. Some of the partners that we work with, very small to mid-sized companies locally, so we work with the Children's Aid Society, we do their annual gala. We have worked with the White Rose Leadership in Give Local York recently, Olivia's House in York and Hanover, Flow State Sim Racing in Glen Rock. If you guys haven't checked them out, you should. It's really fun, especially with your companies. So Restoration Relief, if you have company outings and stuff like that, it's very fun and just something different than going to or doing a golf tournament or going out and doing some things. It's really fun sim racing stuff. Standard Paving and Concrete, later on I'm going to do a case study on them to tell you how we started with them and what we did. And then BBYO and CHIPS. BBYO is a Jewish youth leadership organization. They're international, so that's one of the conferences we do. We've partnered with them for the last 10 plus years. And CHIPS, that's another one of our big national conferences. That's Chiefs in Intellectual Property. They are all women in IP law, which is actually really interesting. So we produce their conferences and their video assets for the conferences. So why video matters? Imagine that you are looking for a contractor for your local stuff. You're looking for an HVAC company, a tree company. You know, you go on there, you research. One company has 3 paragraphs of text, and you got to read through it to figure out who they are, what they're doing. And then the next company you go to has a 90-second web header video that tells you who you are, your people. You know, they see you doing the action, they see you doing the work. Who would you choose? Pretty clear and obvious, right? Option B, right?
Definitely video, yeah.
Definitely video?
Yeah.
So why is that? Well, people value their time more than ever. They're going to go to a website, they want to be told, they want to just watch a video, they don't want to just read through, they don't have a lot of time, right? So when I'm looking for, I had someone recently come down and cut some trees down. I went to their website first thing, and I went through, and I didn't read through all the abouts. I just saw, okay, who's active on social media, who's doing things, who can I see actually do their work? Are they investing in their company? Are they just putting a basic WordPress website up and just putting like a typical about me? To me, when I see that, I see a company that's not really investing in themselves, so why would I invest in you? If you see a video that they spent multiple thousands of dollars on and they're in there, they not only invested money, but they invested time and energy into creating those and actually doing the scripts, that to me tells me more than any text or any paragraph can tell me. Attention spans are shorter. Obviously, you know that. TikTok, Instagram, you have quick reels. People need to get hooked. You're not going to hook them by reading text because you're going to see the text and they're automatically going to move on and scroll. If it's a video, you can create hooks. You can create energy. You can create colorful things, show a bunch of cool footage of you doing your actual work. And then information overload. I mean, there's so many videos. People are constantly scrolling and all this stuff. They're being sold. Every 3 videos is an ad, all that kind of stuff. And so when they're going to those websites, what stands out, what makes you different other than just being sold? So these videos that you should have on your website are not ads. They're not, hey, choose us because of X, Y, and Z. They're just telling you about them. People don't want to be sold. They don't want all the information. They're tired of just kind of me doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, especially because story. I feel like videos give you that story too,
Yeah.
more than text can. Text gives you that, but you can at least get you can portray exactly what you want to with a video. Whereas it's like when you read a book versus seeing the movie. Like when you read the book, you make up your own kind of version. Whereas as a brand, you can dictate exactly what they're going to see, how it's portrayed, and everything through video, which I think is really good too.
Exactly, and that brings me back to this point right here: is creating a personal connection. They see you. I can't tell you how many times that I've been to a restaurant or a coffee shop that I've seen videos they constantly post and the owner's on there. And then I see that owner there and I feel like I know them, right? I trust them. I know that. I see them on there. They're the face of their company. They don't know me, but every time I come in, I'm like, I feel like I know you. There's a local coffee shop down the street, Departure Coffee in New Freedom, if you guys have ever been there. But they're constantly posting and I see them everywhere and I see them investing. And so when I went there, I felt like I knew who they were. And so that's why creating a personal connection is big and important. Gives them a sense of knowing your business before you even work with them. So video and SEO, did you want to kind of talk about this real quick?
Yeah, so along the lines of video, and especially from an SEO standpoint, YouTube at this point, or it's not even this point, it's been the #2 search engine for years at this point. So video, of course, then really relies on YouTube, or lives on YouTube for sure, whether it's on shorts or it's those long form videos. YouTube is a very big search engine that you can be found on as well. So even those stories that you're telling about your brand that go on your website, they can also be posted on YouTube, and you can get the additional SEO value out of that as well. Of course, the demos and explainers, I think that's a big one too anymore. I teach at York College, so I always kind of pull them and use them as my little lab rats, I guess, and test them and see what they're interested in things. So that the explainer side of things has been a really big kind of drawing point for people as a whole, especially if you have something that's a little bit more complex to understand. Is having video that kind of either walks them through it or explains why it's important is very valuable for people. It's also great from a SEO standpoint, and especially from an AI standpoint at this point as well, because usually explainers and demo videos also give you very structured data. Like you can't just you don't do the same storytelling as you would for maybe a video that talks about your company culture. In an explainer video, it's very like step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this, which AI and bots, they love that. They love to have a list of things that says, this is where I go from here to the next step, to the next step, next step. So that always really helps your SEO as well. And it's useful for people as well. Also being video, it's highly shareable, especially kind of Austin talked about that with that personal connection. It makes it so that somebody can actually share it easily, and you can kind of get that viral portion of it as well. We actually went to Central Market yesterday, and Sarah, one employee, mentioned about how she saw the one bakery on TikTok, so of course we had to go stop there. They were already sold out by the time we got there at 1 o'clock. Because they had a line out the door before they got there, because they've been doing so well, doing videos and showing off their products and showing off their story through TikTok and such, that short form video that, they sold out very quickly that day. And also the last point for the SEO standpoint is that AI is now looking for multiple modes that you're reinforcing the same keywords or the same business. So we're not looking at just from a tech standpoint anymore. They want to see that you have video. They want to see that you're doing images that all kind of reinforce and tell the same story. So that's really kind of the big push for AI right now, is they're taking this huge amount of data, whether or not it's just text or video, and pushing it all to make kind of that connection and that story for itself about your brand. So but video is a really good way to kind of stand out in that sense, because a lot of people don't do it. So if you're doing those instructional videos or culture videos about me, all kinds, really conferences would be a good one too. It really helps you stand out in their mind because you kind of went that extra mile. It's additional information that you didn't have prior. A lot of times too, they have a lot of text baked in, because if you're talking through the video, that's all in the minds of a robot text. It sees it as that at least. It's not going to visually or physically hear it, but it does definitely resonate with it. So it's another good way to really stand out on AI and search engines.
Yeah, and this will be a good transition into the types of videos and how they work, right? So you can produce videos all you want, but are you posting them in the right places? Are you posting them correctly? Are you posting the right videos? Are you posting a 5-minute video as an ad on Meta? we've had a client unfortunately do that before, post a company web header as an ad. You got to make sure that you have a plan in place before you have these videos, before you produce them, and before you post them. So first thing is you got to know your types of videos. So obviously everyone knows social content, the reels, the quick ones, the stuff that your bakery was posting, that gets people in the door. And those act as top of funnel activities. So you're getting it, you're funneling people in. It's the first thing people see. Even if they're not interested in having a baked good right now, even if they're not interested in having an HVAC company do it right now, you're getting noticed. So when they do need you, or you do need a company, they see, okay, restoration relief. I see them all the time, and now I'm having a problem with flooding in my basement. I'm going to go to them just because I see them all the time, right? So social content is important in that manner. And then what's also important is that you're leading them and you're funneling them to your website somehow, whether that's, hey, if you're interested in doing this at the end, doing a call to action of like, hey, check out our website and then see our services. Have it on the link on their Instagram or a link on your Facebook, that kind of stuff. The types of content for that. So you got trending content, obviously, that are just the trending reels. You got how-to videos that you talked about, so the tips and tricks, that kind of stuff, where you're just giving the viewer good information that they don't know, that's helpful to them in the moment, and you're not selling them, that kind of stuff. Podcasts and shorts. So we'll talk about long form versus short form. So you can do a long form podcast, but you're not going to post that long form on social. You're going to post the short stuff on there. Testimonials and interviews. This, is builds credibility, and real customers equals real experiences, right? So the best companies don't need to sell you. They just need to show you that they do good work, whether that's through testimonials, which is personal and it builds connection and credibility, or whether that's, just showing you the behind the scenes and day-to-day stuff that they're doing and they're actually putting in the efforts. And nothing sells more than word of mouth, right? So you can sell them all you want, but when an actual customer is telling you their experience and what they do and why they chose that company, you're going to trust them more than you will trust the company, because the company is going to say nothing but good things about themselves, right? Brands and story videos. So these are the website, living on your website, the About Me pages we talked about with having 3 paragraphs versus a 90-second to 3-minute video. This is going to tell you who you are, or who the company is, why we do it, and why you should choose us, what makes us different, right? Internal videos. So this is not really related to SEO, but recruitment, right? So if you have internal videos that you're posting or training and stuff like that on your website, and then people see that, they're going to know that you invest in your talent. It's also going to save you time. So if you're doing internal training videos that are onboarding, it's going to build consistency with your training. You don't have to worry about one person saying this and one person saying that and different trainers teaching people different things. You have a video that you can easily point to as an SOP or a standard operating procedure that you have, that you live, that you say, hey, here's a new employee, watch these videos, and everyone's going to learn the same way and do the same thing. You can also do recruitment, so that's also, you can do it internal recruitment to talk about how you can grow within the company, and you can also post recruitment videos in general, and we'll get more into that too with the case study.
Yeah, and something kind of along the same lines that you mentioned too, that I always push at these and in all of our educational pieces, is that marketing funnel or sales funnel, which you really hit on with like the social content is really that top of funnel. And then as you kind of go down, it becomes more and more sales oriented, that closing maybe at the brand story, but you have that education piece as well in that middle of funnel. So having all 3 of those pieces, or 4 really, will ultimately help you with conversions.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't just pick one, right? You have to do all 3. And that's the thing is we'll get into is if you're going to work with a video company or a marketing company, you don't just invest into, okay, all I'm going to do is the social content. It's okay if you do that at first and you start to dive into it, but you should have a plan to start doing these brand videos to funnel people in. So you can have the social content, you can have all that, but then it's like, okay, what do I do now? As a viewer, as a potential customer, I see that, they know what they're doing. How do you funnel them into actually getting your services? That kind of stuff. So that's where the testimonials or the brand story videos and who you are, it just builds even more credibility on top of each other. And then the Google searches. So like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Google owns YouTube, correct? Or
Yep.
is it? Yeah. So Google owns YouTube. So if you're posting on YouTube, they're going to prioritize that video content much more than they will post on Facebook, because they want to prioritize their stuff. So if you're posting on YouTube and that kind of stuff, it's going to raise your SEO value. It's going to raise that. So that's what you want. You want people to search for restoration. You want restoration relief to come up because there's videos, not just photos or not just text. And AI especially, they're going to take those videos. I can't tell you how many times I search how to do something, and it links the YouTube video, but then gives me an outline of that video and tells me step by step on how to do something.
Yep.
And I use it all the time, and then I go to that video and I go to that link. So same thing. So where to post these? So again, you know the content, you know how they work, you know what you're supposed to post, but what about posting them in the wrong locations? Where's your target audience? Are you posting videos for your restoration company on TikTok? No, right? Because the typical customers are not going to be on there. Or if you're business to business versus business to consumer, that kind of stuff. So if you're targeting businesses, other businesses, you really shouldn't be posting them on Facebook. That is a social content. That's the kind of stuff. You can have it there, but that's not your main priority. LinkedIn should be your main priority, right? So you're going to go to LinkedIn because those are where the business owners are. That's where they see that kind of stuff. If you're consumers, then yeah, of course, you want to do, like if you're doing sales and retail, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you want to build that credibility just like the bakery that you went to. You post on there. The bakery is not going to post on LinkedIn to get other business owners. And they can if they want to do like corporation events or conferences and that kind of stuff, catering. Yeah. But know your target audience and know where to post. So short term versus long form is part of that. So short form, obviously Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. Long form, you want to post that on YouTube, you can post it on Facebook. I know TikTok is now trying to prioritize longer videos, but you also got to think about, just because they're prioritizing that doesn't mean that the people watching it are. So think of that in mind as you're posting these things. If you have a long form content, keep in mind too, if you're doing a podcast that's 40 minutes long, or this presentation right here, you can cut them up into shorts. So a 40-minute presentation or a 40-minute podcast then becomes 10 to 15 assets that you can put on social media, and then you funnel them right back into that long form. You funnel them right back into your website. So always keep that in mind that you want them to go somewhere. You don't want them just to watch that video. You want them to go somewhere for that. And that's where the SEO comes in.
It's almost like you know why we record these lunch and learns.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just for fun to watch back, right?
Exactly. Yes, yeah. Not for our own use case.
Exactly. Internal versus external. So, are you posting these internally? Or are you posting them externally? Obviously. So, internals are going to be the recruitment or the training videos. You're not going to post that on social media, right? This is very obvious. The externals are going to be the advertising, the how-to videos, the things that are going to give the customers knowledges, the testimonials, that kind of stuff. That one's pretty easy and self-explanatory. We talked about business to business. Sorry, went ahead of that. Do you have anything to say for the shorts and where to post them and stuff like that? What works best for SEO?
I mean, YouTube is always going to be the valued one, just for the reason you said. Like 5% of all searches are through Google, and then of course Google owns YouTube, so then YouTube is going to be higher value for them because it's feeding themselves. But TikTok, I mean, that is becoming a bigger search engine, so that there's definitely options there if that's the right fit for your company. Like you said, if you're a strictly B2B company, there's not as much room there as for TikTok. I mean, there's still opportunity because you can still, you can then stand out. Like you're going to be one of the few people out there, and the algorithm will adjust based on what they like and who views it and such like that as well. But the other reason for Google and YouTube side is Gemini is now number 2, or it has been number 2 for a while on the AI side. So more people are using Gemini than the other platforms outside of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is still number 1, but then the next one is Gemini. So of course, Gemini being a Google product is going to leverage YouTube more because once again they can send people their way, make more ad revenue, make more money. It's going to be that's it. They're in their advantage to do so. So YouTube Shorts I think are always great. For any, I think that's a good fit for most companies too because it does benefits you both ways for SEO, and it's something that everybody can be accessible. Same with the B2B side too. With B2B, I mean they're generally going to be a little bit older demographic, like not in their early 20s, and historically older people use YouTube Shorts and like Instagram or Facebook Reels and Stories versus TikTok. Me being that old person too, like I'm a YouTube Shorts person. I don't go on TikTok, but I watch YouTube Shorts. Same thing in my mind at least, but that is going to be that target audience, going to be a little bit older, a little more mature, so that makes more sense for really both sides as well.
Yeah, I mean, the target audience is a good point, and posting on TikTok. So we actually worked with a liquor store client down in Baltimore. We were producing content for them, and the client really wanted to push TikTok because he wanted views. He wanted to build a relationship with that. And if you know TikTok, you know your audience. You're talking about 18 to 22-year-olds. Is that a good target audience for a liquor store? Probably not, especially with the demographic. I mean, if you look at studies now, you see that drinking in the younger age groups has been down. So we try to convince him, really, hey, yes, we understand you get views, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but views aren't everything. So know where your target audience is. Post on Facebook and Instagram if you're a liquor store, because you're talking about 25 to 45-year-olds versus 18-year-olds. Can't even buy the liquor, so that kind of stuff.
Yeah, unless you're like located on a college campus or something, then you might be all right with going TikTok. But yeah, for most liquor stores, yeah, probably not so much.
Yeah, and I mean, if you knew anything about this liquor store and you just walk into the store, I don't think I've ever seen a 21-year-old in that store, just based on location and based on what they have. Go back to common mistakes. So, common mistakes. Can I ask what are some of the biggest hurdles for you all when it comes to video? Like why either you don't do it as much or why you haven't done it yet? Is there any hurdles? Is it monetary? Is it time? Is it?
For us, it's more time consuming.
Yeah.
I am the one that goes out and shoots it and has to edit. So
Okay.
then I have to do all the other marketing materials too. So it is most of the time.
Yeah, it's not a one-person job. Not at all.
Yeah.
My, the coworkers that I would have to work with are much older, so they're of that generation of like, this is weird, why do we need to do this? And they're very uncomfortable being put on social media.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, especially in the social sense, I feel like getting buy-in from people that don't like social media or don't see the value in it, it's tough.
Yeah,
for sure.
That is hard. Well, when we talk about common mistakes, going along with that is time is talking about that, but people think too, and part of the problem is they think that if they do invest in one video and that video doesn't turn into a $50,000 contract immediately, they're like, this doesn't work, right? How many times what do you mean I have to be on social media? We're not getting any sales. We're not doing this. And so that is like the biggest number one mistake that we see our clients make is they'll invest in us, we'll do the video, and they're like, okay, like now what? You got to keep creating. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep posting. You got to keep doing a mix of all of those videos we talked about. So we start with the brand videos, but we need to take that and create other things. And we'll get into the case study that I'll get into. I'll show you, talking about time, I'll show you how one shoot date can turn into multiple videos, right? It's not just you're shooting one thing. So we'll talk about that. Posting incorrectly. Let's talk about quick ROI. So again, it's not about going viral. Talk about that liquor store again. He had, I'll give you a good example. So he had a video that was an unboxing of a Crown Royal, like a new Crown Royal bottle. It was like Crown Royal chocolate or something like that. We posted it to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. And it got 1.5 million views on TikTok. And I can tell you that I don't think it resulted in one sale of that Crown Royal, at least somebody that saw that bottle. They had tons of comments, all of this stuff. We managed the social media. We saw it. Most of the comments were, do you deliver? Did he? No. That doesn't make any sense for him. Like, yes, that's fantastic. You grew your audience. Your followers went up by 2,000 people. You got millions of views. But did it result in any sales? No. So you got to keep doing it. And you got to post in the right thing. So that's the posting incorrectly and talking about quick ROI. So you're not going to get that ROI right away from getting 1 million views. You have to continue doing it. A video that is seen by one person could be the one person that sells a $50,000 contract. So it doesn't need to be about views. And that's where the focusing on the views and not who's viewing, the going viral versus target audience comes into play. And that's where you'll see that the older people, the older generation is like, I don't want to go viral. I don't want to get 20,000 views. Like, I just want to sell. And so they think that makes more sense for them to be out there in person and in front of people. And they don't realize that that's what that is. That's what that is, building credibility, is you're putting a face to it. You're building credibility over time so that one person that needs you 5 weeks from now that saw that video will now come to you.
Yeah, we always push that too for like you mentioned like the top of funnel, like the social side. I mean, that's really what that's meant to do, is just warm people up. It's meant to make those sales calls that you go out to just easier. They already know who you are, and you don't have to come in there completely cold. So yeah, I think that's really where the views come in to some degree, is where just kind of warming up people a little bit. But ultimately, you want sales. If it has to be in that strategic vision where you're not just getting millions of views, but you can't actually even use or can't even capture any of those views. There's not much of a point to that necessarily, unless your strategy is to go, be nationwide and such.
And there is, right? If you're delivering and you're doing retail and you're doing virtual like e-commerce, then yeah, going viral may work for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying going viral is a bad thing. It's still a good thing. It's still good exposure. No publicity is bad publicity. it works. You just have to know, and you have to have that strategy going into it of what these videos are for and why you're posting them. Otherwise, you're just throwing money in there and throwing time and wasting time into doing it for no reason. So, we're going to post here. So this is going to be a quick intro to a video that's obviously about us. It'll be show quick highlights, and then I'm going to go into a case study of our company, Standard Paving. So watch the intro, and then we'll go there. Go ahead to hit it from here.
I assume you can try it. Yep, that's what.
Yep. What about the sound? Hopefully it's not too loud. Touchy.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
This is RL Productions, video marketing and event solutions.
So again, this is going to be kind of a case study that we did with a paving company out of Southern Maryland, Standard Paving. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we did with them first, and then I'll go into the examples of how we did it and the examples of videos that we created from just one video shoot. So it was one full day of production, and I'll show you all of the video assets that we created from that. Initially, we have what's called a discovery call. So we talk to the client, we talk about what's their experience in video work, what is their goals, what, are you trying to increase the brand awareness and those kinds of things. Are we creating, do you have video? No. Okay, well then we're going to recommend doing some pillar videos or some website videos that encompasses your services and tells the customers who you are, and start from there. We'll gather a bunch of content, we'll gather B-roll of you doing your job, and then we'll be able to use those in down the line. So with Standard Paving, they had very limited video experience. They were using owner content created stuff, so the owner was coming out with a cell phone and videoing, which is fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was doing what they needed to do. We saw it. It was creating content. It just wasn't, they wanted a little more professional feel to it and something more concrete with words and interviews and scripts and all that kind of stuff. So they wanted to increase their brand awareness and have a more professional look and use these videos to show their process and then show these people. So their paving company, they knew their target audience immediately. So when we talked to this owner, we knew he knew his stuff. We knew that he wanted to target property managers, hospitals, big businesses. They didn't want to do residential, so he already knew they wanted to do that kind of stuff. So that's why they wanted the more professional look, because they're promoting to big businesses versus the residential. So the social media stuff that he was doing on his phone, sure, that gets people that wants to do driveways and sidewalks and stuff like that. They're interested in that. When you're talking about a municipality or a hospital, they're going to want to see something more professional, more brushed up. So after that, we go into the proposal. We have a day of pre-production, a full day of production with scripted content, and then the goal was to create these pillar videos I'm going to show you in a minute. So it's going to be all of their services. We're going to create their pillar videos. They range from 30 to 60 seconds, very quick, can live on their website, but can also be posted on LinkedIn. So we talk about that quick attention span. It used to be these company web headers used to be 3 to 5 minute long. That's what it was. People watched it. And then people realized nobody's ever going to watch that. Same thing as text. So we need to keep it shorter, simple, to the point. So these videos are 30 to 60 seconds. They talk about their different services, and they can immediately put them on their website that says, hey, here's our service. Watch the video of what it is. And do you need it? This video will tell you if you need it. So I'll play these couple videos. The first one is going to be the 30-second initial. This is just the marketing promo video. So overall of who Standard Paving is. So this is essentially their brand video. Again, this is a 30-second video, not a 3-minute video. So.
As a leader in the asphalt and concrete industry, We at Standard Pavement and Concrete create customized solutions for better parking lots, roads, curbs, sidewalks, and more. We help communities thrive by making spaces safe and easy to maneuver. Our problem-solving approach means we listen to your needs and take calculated action. Trust Standard Pavement and Concrete to provide the standard and improved paving services.
So that was a start-to-finish project that we were on, that they were at a gas station. Oh no. You keep going, I'll fix it. So that was a one-day shoot that we captured all that content for from start to finish for that project. So from the milling and the paving all the way down to the striping, all the way down at the end. So we were there for one full day, captured that content, and was able to produce that video along with the next couple of videos that we're going to go into here. A little further back. There you go.
Take to make your vision.
Tried.
It's okay.
Keep
If we
it
need
small.
to, we can play that on there. Yeah, I mean, it's big enough.
Okay.
A reality.
Gives you the idea. So
First, we'll discuss project
this is their five-step process. So they have a five-step process that they had written on their website in words, all these things. And they turned it into a video with a voiceover from the owner.
and hard to identify parking lots.
I'm going to show you just part of these. You don't need to watch everything because not everybody needs to know the five-step process of that. So you'll see in a second.
Moisture or wind.
I saved you guys some time, so we don't have to worry about.
Dangerous potholes.
So that was identifying that. Oh, I think we actually skipped it. That was the one before. So that was actually where you just saw the top 3 signs of pavement problems. So again, that was another thing they had on their website. That was if somebody were to go there, a potential customer, and they know that they have cracks in their pavement, like, how do you know? How do we know that just because I have a crack that I need to get it replaced? And that's what that video was. The video before that.
Your project to life is simple at Standard Pavement and Concrete. With the 5 steps we take.
So there's the 5-step
to make your
process.
vision a reality. First, we'll discuss project details with measurements taken on site.
I faded it out there quick, so I missed the fade out there. That was 2 videos that you saw there. The next thing we did, so the owner took that video, those 4 videos, and posted them on LinkedIn. They were short enough to post on LinkedIn, not just the website. And immediately when he posted that 30-second campaign, he told us that resulted in a $10,000 sale contract. So just that 30-second video that he turned into used to be just words on a text on a website that nobody would ever see unless they went there. Posted it on the proper platform, knew that it was going to be business to business, and it resulted in a $10,000 sale. Continued to post the other videos and have them live on his website. And then he had increased traffic to his website, obviously, through SEO. He had customers' understanding of who we are and why we do it, right? So it was very easy for them to do. He no longer had to prove that. Once the customers came to him, they already knew. And then again, the Google business page, he has them listed on there too as well. So if you go to the Google business page, you can put those videos, because they're only 30 seconds, on there now. That's a new feature, I feel like. That used to be just photos, but you can post these now on your Google business. That will now increase the chances of being seen.
Yeah, and even for the Google business side, I mean, just even having updated every once in a while, it doesn't have to be something, it's not like TikTok for sure, where you have to post all the time, but just, a post every month or so, helps keep you relevant as well. I mean, I think too, like both videos you showed here really highlights that point of like the structure of it. Like both of these, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hit 3, 2, 1, which is again perfect for AI at this point, and the AI optimizations for online SEO. So like it just really transitions well there.
Yeah. So I mean, if somebody were to Google, how do I know I have a pavement problem, or how do I know I need to get my pavement replaced as a business owner, as a hospital, that video could show up if they're local and list out the top 3 problems. There's your top 3 signs, and then it's listed into YouTube, and you click right there. So think of those kinds of things of the SEO and how that's going to link there. The next thing, so then they obviously saw the success in this initial marketing reach. They came back to us and wanted to do a marketing refresh. So it was kind of our idea. We were like, hey, we have all of this content that we gathered in a day of production. We have this B-roll, we have your whole set, your whole services, your whole process. We can create shorter versions that are just quick reels, those social media content to funnel people back into that website to see these videos. We created that without having to go back on site, without having to take more time out of there. And so we created these next videos here you'll see.
Signs that you have a pavement problem that's hurting your curb appeal. Visible cracks.
Standard paving and concrete.
So again, same footage from that same shoot, just graphics and styled into a vertical format. So he was able to post this on LinkedIn, he posted it on his Instagram, he can post it on Google Business page. Short, simple, to the point, a voiceover. Didn't have to do any effort on their part. It was like, hey, we'll put this together and here's some more assets that you can do. Again, this is just our B-roll from the same shoot and voiceover and some ASMR kind of style. That was a huge hit for him. That little thing that took us, we turned it around within 2 weeks for all these marketing refreshes. Turned into a lot of interest.
Every project is unique, and we build solutions that fit. Standard paving and concrete.
So that was all created about 6 months after our initial production, our initial one-shoot production one day. We came back and we produced that and turned it around in a couple weeks. He was able to post them right away. When we reached out to him, he also said, hey, can we come back? There was one part of his service that we didn't capture because they didn't do it that day. It was seal coating, so they had to wait a day to do that. So we came back out for a half a day and created some more B-roll, much cheaper, no interviews, just came out, captured some B-roll, some drone footage, and also part of that, we were able to create some targeted ads. So these are targeted ads. He said, hey, we just met with our big corporation, our head of marketing. We want to target HOA owners and we want to target healthcare and gyms and that kind of stuff. So how can we do that? I'll show you in a second. So same production, same B-roll, same all that kind of stuff, no extra added time. And we were able to create 5 different targeted ads. Immediately, you know who the target audience is. If I'm a property manager, I'm going to swipe away. If I am a property manager, I'm going to watch. It's their target ideal audience. They see it and they're going to go with it. They're going to watch it.
Crusty, beat down, worn out pavement on your lots or roadways.
If I'm a property manager, my pavement looks like that, I immediately know, okay, that I need to get this done and do it. He can run this as ads on social media. He can run it as an ad on Google.
Striping and new pavement. Set the new standard for curb appeal and choose standard paving and concrete.
So we did produce 5 of those, property managers, HOAs, all the different styles that their marketing company was able. They said, hey, these are our targets. How can we do that? We created that 5 different ways, vertical format, and he was able to target them directly. This last one we have was, he said, okay, now my next problem. I have a recruitment issue. We don't have anybody that wants to come work for us. How can we do this? Again, same thing, same assets, same production. We're able to create a recruitment video from it. Boom, right there. We created all of those video assets in one day. So we talk about time, we talk about budget. That's going to save you money, that's going to save you time, right? And we can come back, we build this portfolio. That's why we want to have the long-term relationships with the clients, because we build that portfolio. We have clients that we worked with for 10 years. When they have a 10-year anniversary, we have videos from 10 years ago that we can create. Chips, they had a 20-year anniversary recently. We just created a 20-year anniversary video for them to play at their conference. We had all of those assets. They were able to submit some photo assets that we didn't have. Well, we worked with them for the last 10 years, so we were able to go back into our stuff and pull from there and grab all that stuff. So again, you're not making just an investment into one video. You're making an investment into multiple, but you have to know, you have to have the right strategy in place, your target audience, you have to know all of those things. Otherwise, you don't know what videos you need to. We can help with that. We can say, we can give you ideas, but we don't know your business. We don't know your target audience. So if you know those kinds of things before you work with a video production or video marketing firm or a marketing company in general, then you can have a much higher return on investment for those kinds of things.
One thing I kind of like too is there was a trend to hear when you're watching all those different videos, where I think it was the first 2 to 3 videos have the owner talking. But they are very much more informational. So that middle of funnel educational piece, which you're really trying to gain trust, which I think really kind of reinforces like the SEO side too as well, where like that's the goal of those type of videos is trust. So having an owner speak instead of like the typical like either AI or any other type of what's it called? Voiceover, thank you. I'm not a videographer, obviously. So yeah, having that voiceover that's like that standard one like the ads kind of had, really kind of ingrains that trust more. I mean, it's not, he doesn't have like, he's not a perfect actor, but that's probably actually better in that case because it does make him, it seems like a real person. Like he's, that's the guy that's going to show up to your job or at least be involved versus maybe, that AI overview could be anybody or voiceover. I'm going to say overview.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, and I'm glad you brought it up. So we had an interview, we had footage of him, and he was a little self-conscious about, he had a fake tooth in his thing, and he wasn't that great in front of a camera. We did teleprompter stuff. So he asked specifically, he's like, hey, can we cover me up? Like, I like being the voice of it, but I don't need my face on there. So that kind of stuff. So it's a preference, right? So we were able to capture all the content, but down the line in post-production, we were able to say, okay, let's cover this up with B-roll and figure that out. And then you can see we used voiceover for the other ones. So that's a good point, but that is living on social media, right? So you funnel it, then you go to your website and you have that personal touch, that owner. You can tell the difference between a person that's informational versus one that's just a promo video. That's that voiceover style.
Yeah, I mean, on social media, you have that 2, maybe 5 seconds to hook somebody, whereas you want a trained professional sounding voice versus like an owner's voice necessarily. I mean, there is still definitely value there, especially if you're posting for like a B2B side. I think you said he posted on LinkedIn. I think there's definitely value there as well because the people he's going to see are going to, if he's posting on his personal LinkedIn, they're going to be his friends, people he knows, so they're going to resonate with his voice more than maybe just a generic
Exactly, voice. Like, hey, that's Jack. That's who I know him, right? So it makes sense. And the other part of that too is he is posting on his personal LinkedIn account versus the business account. So that's a big thing that I've noticed even personally for our business is posting from my personal versus our business account trends so much better. I don't know what it is about LinkedIn. I don't know a ton about social media stuff, but it's just he was smart enough to know that too, and he's posting these, but he knows that he works for Standard Paving. He's the owner. It's still going to work the same way as it would, but you're putting a face behind it. And say he comes out and he's trying to sell a property manager. They go to his LinkedIn profile, they watch the video, and they hear his voice. They've already heard his voice in person. They now hear his voice there. They know he's investing. They know that he's posting, and it's just another touch that you have for that personal connection.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to notice that.
Yeah.
So any questions or anything? Any feedback or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We definitely open up to questions. Anybody have questions, thoughts, concerns? Like, especially if you're still not sold on video, or if you think there's problems that you may have or you have to overcome, we can certainly try to help answer that. Good, Georgie.
I really struggle with switching to vertical.
Mm-hmm. I think we all are.
Yeah.
And is everything you guys do like vertical video now?
Yeah, we shoot for that purpose. We shoot horizontal, but a lot of the footage, unfortunately, is in 4K, which is crazy because it's, as an editor, you're talking about 500 gigabytes of data now versus 200 when we were shooting in 1080. So we shoot in the mind that down the line again. So our first initial ones were all vertical, as you saw, or I'm sorry, all horizontal, as you saw. But we shot in 4K so that we had the ability to transition to the vertical content that we knew would be used down the line. So that is a struggle that we went with for a long time. It's like, I don't really want to shoot in 4K the whole time. I don't want to do this. I also don't want to shoot vertically because you're losing so much background and frame. I mean, if you shoot vertically, you're getting the person. And you have a lot of clients that are like, hey, we want vertical video. I'm like, cool, but you have nothing in the background other than yourself. So we were on a construction site there. If we would have done vertical, you would have just heard all of that noise, all of the beeping, all that stuff, and would have had no idea why that's there. But if you're shooting horizontal, you see it in the background, it's implied, okay, they're at a construction site, you have a lot more to work with.
Yeah. I think it also depends on the platform too. I think LinkedIn definitely allows for more horizontal posting because people are, I think, more likely to be on their computer versus like Facebook, or especially TikTok. I mean, there is don't know if you can even view TikTok on your computer or not. I mean, I'm so old
Yeah, you
that
can.
I don't do
Only
it.
reason why I know is because
You can.
I didn't, I don't have TikTok, and with the liquor store client, we were posting on there, so I was like, I'm not downloading it, so I had to do
Yeah.
a desktop app, and that's why I posted.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, that's a small percentage of
Yeah.
people on TikTok that are using it. So
Absolutely.
you're forced to have it vertical. Whereas
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn has adapted a lot of theirs. In particular.
Yeah, they
Even
kind of have the
Facebook.
same like features, all the rest of it. Like you can go into it and actually scroll like you normally can with the YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
So they are pushing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely, especially for those shortcut videos, they want vertical. But they, the longer ones, like the minute, like the explainers, I think the horizontal still works fine. Yeah, that's a good question though.
Anything
It's
else?
tough. Go ahead, Jess.
What are my favorite projects to do? We love working with nonprofits. So the nonprofits, we find that they care the most about what they're doing and they're passionate about it. And so they'll come to the table with ideas. They'll come with creative. They want to be a part of it. They want to take the time to invest into it. And it just goes so much smoother. And then at the end result, I'm now selling a story versus selling a product, and it's easier to pitch that and easier to do that kind of stuff with the nonprofits, and it's just more fulfilling to work with that and that kind of stuff.
That makes sense too. A nonprofit also has like an inherent story built in. Whereas
Exactly.
Like a for-profit company may or may not have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we work with Olivia's House, and so they're creating. It's not a marketing campaign, but they're creating a 4-episode series on one of their programs that they have, and they came to us. They had scripts ready. They had things ready, and they knew what they wanted, right? And we were there just to help that kind of along. And obviously, we're there to create that expertise. But when a company comes in, like a paving company, luckily with Jack and Standard Paving, he knew the ins and outs of marketing, so it was helpful. But we've had clients come in and like they don't know what they want, and we can help them, but we also can't. We're not in the day-to-day stuff, so it's very tough for us to know your day-to-day ins and outs without your help. And if you're not willing to put in the time and effort to tell us those things, we'll create a video, but it may not match exactly what you want.
Yeah. I think it's kind of, it makes it part of the strategy. You have to have the strategy, kind of going back to getting viral. Like there's no point in being viral if you're a liquor store that sells to, one small town. I mean, it's not gonna matter for you. So it has to be part of, baked into that strategy. I mean, it's true for all marketing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point in having a wide reach if you're not, if you can only service a small amount of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Cool.
I do have a question. Those how-to and explanation videos that you mentioned in the beginning, is that better to have like a person talking or just like
Yeah.
voiceover?
In my personal opinion, it's always better to have a person in front of the camera. If people see the face talking to them, they can trust you. And then when they come to you and they see that person in the office or they see that person come out and do the sales, they already have that connection. I don't think there's anything wrong ultimately with doing voiceovers and doing graphics and stuff if you're not comfortable in front of it, but it's definitely better to have a person or a face to it.
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree. I think it just gets more trust. And that's true, I think, for all the platforms too. Even if you're doing social media, if you're having something that's talking about, kind of like this how-to or maybe some type of culture piece for your socials, having a physical person there that's like part of your team talking about it is going to do better generally than just kind of like B-roll shots and things like that.
And it can also be utilized where you're in there at the beginning and then you cover it with B-roll and you come back at the end for the call to action. So you don't have to be on screen the whole time. You just have it there and you just introduce yourself, tell people who you are, and they see that face, and then they hear you're talking, they can match it to the face. But when people just hear an isolated voice, especially now with AI, they just, this doesn't need to be real. This isn't real. I don't know who you are. This doesn't build credibility. You could be fake for all I know, right? Especially when you're talking about companies that, maybe are just now starting out that don't have a ton of experience. Putting the face in front of it will immediately bring attention. I know when I keep going back to the tree cutting thing, but I went to so many tree cutters that I didn't know who they were. There was no headshots, there was no videos, there was no social media presence. I'm like, I'm not going to you. Whether you do good work, whether your reviews are good, I can't trust you because I don't know who you are or what you look like. And I know that sounds bad, not what it look like, but you could scam me for all you need to know, especially nowadays. So.
Yeah. And there's tons of it out there, unfortunately. So yeah, that real voice does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone could tell too. You could tell immediately that was. I would assume the owner immediately that he was the one speaking, just because it doesn't sound.
So a difference.
Yeah, you can.
It's natural. No matter how good AI is, you still can't build the natural energy into how you sound, the tone, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Yeah, I feel like people too also get scared that they don't sound like a professional, like
Yeah.
they don't sound like a voiceover person,
And-
which is actually probably ideal in this
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. And nobody's going to notice that either. I promise you're going to be your hardest critic. So if you're in front of the
Oh,
camera,
yeah.
like you're the only one that's going to be judging yourself on how you sound. Everyone else is just taking in what you're saying, not paying attention to any of that stuff.
And everyone hates the sound of their voice.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I would never edit my own videos.
No, I don't wanna watch this
yeah,
at all.
Yeah, exactly. This is have somebody else do it, just so you don't have to listen to yourself.
Nice. Anything else? Yeah.
You may be a little biased, but do you feel like there is still like space or room for the picture and the text post, or do you feel like you could, or do you feel like you could do all video?
You need everything. Photos, you need personal content, so like your behind the scenes stories, you need photos, you need professional photos, you need behind the scenes photos from now that you need to mix it up so it's fresh, so it's new, so people see that. And if you're doing photos of like if you look at our social media page, we don't have professional looking videos. We have behind the scenes photos of our sets, right? So like we have a couple of them, as you see like the intros, we create some of those, but we just do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, right? So there's just our cell phones. You know, we might have some professional photos here and there. We just hired a guy who is also a photographer. So he luckily has helped us with better looking behind the scenes photos recently. But yeah, good question. No, I recommend doing everything. You know, it sounds like a lot, but like a mixture of some things. You don't have to, you 5 posts a week or 3 posts a week doesn't have to be 3 videos. It could be 1 photo, 1 video, 1 story, and that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan, and people probably disagree with this, but I'm not a fan of you need to post 3 times a day and be out there all the time, because I think that's just overkill. I see those in companies and I get tired, and I'm tired of seeing it, so I don't want to go to it. So depends on what you're doing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for posting a bunch of times a day. That's usually for like larger companies, or if you can just do it. I mean, it's usually meant for larger companies because you can actually do that when you have somebody's job.
You have a bunch of different target audience too.
Yeah, different target audiences, and your job from 9 to 5 is only posting on social media. It's feasible to get a couple a day, but most companies do not have somebody that their only job is social media. Usually, if they're the marketer, their job is like social media, SEO, making videos,
Print,
photo. Yeah, it's like you have all those.
They're like, yep,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then it becomes unfeasible. I mean, if your only job was just go get content and post online, it's feasible. But yeah, kind of to his point too. As far as pictures and is there like space for that? Even still text does well, and especially depending on the platform. I've seen posts that are just text do okay, especially LinkedIn. I think does a little bit better with that as well. But there's definitely space for all of them.
Yeah.
It also comes down to time too. A lot of it. Pictures, like if you're at an event, it's easier to have a picture. You may not be able to have a full, RL Productions might not be able to be at every event, especially if you hold them frequently. You try. Yeah. But so pictures there still better than nothing. So it would definitely still be effective.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you look at our social media, it's probably more picture than video, and we are a video company. But they trend very well. I mean, if you post enough and there's carousels and like you can post multiple ones, 5 to 10 photos, people will look at that and be interested in it. It's still a hook. So that first photo you post on Instagram, make it look really interesting, really cool. Tilt your camera. I don't know. Do something to keep their attention, and then it helps.
Yeah. Yeah, typical shoemakers kids. That's what we always refer to ourselves as too.
Yeah.
Yeah, always taking care of everybody else, forget to take care of yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? It's okay if you don't.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I think we can get a round of applause for Austin here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. He has all his contact in here. If you want to reach out to RL Productions, we'd love to. They're a great company to work with. For questions, I'm sure he'd be willing to answer those.
You can follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn. If you guys want to meet for coffee one-on-one, I'm more than happy to do that. Did that this morning. I love coffee and I love meeting new people.